Mosquito control revolution, kill millions. Without electricity or toxic chemicals, for 30 years, homeowners paid $400 a season to spray poison across their yards. For 30 years, their kids still got bitten. But in 1977, a soil bacterium was discovered in Israel that could eliminate entire mosquito bloodlines without a single drop of chemicals, without electricity, without quarterly contracts bleeding your wallet dry. The question isn't whether it works. The question is, why didn't anyone tell you about it? Stay with us, because what you're about to learn changes everything. Welcome back to Hidden Fix Lab. If this is your first time here, listen, I know you've probably seen 1,000 YouTube channels, but this one is different. We don't sell you products. We don't push quarterly contracts. We just show you what actually works, the real way. The way your grandfather probably knew, but nobody talks about anymore. Before we go deeper into this mosquito story, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Not because we need numbers. We don't. But because the next video might save you $400 this summer, and the one after that might solve a problem you've been fighting for years. Now, I'm curious, where are you watching us from today? Drop it in the comments. Are you in the backyard? Inside? On your porch? We read every single comment, and honestly, it helps us know who we're talking to. All right, let's begin. In the year 1100 AD, a scholar named Al-Razi was sitting in his Baghdad library. He was not thinking about mosquitoes, he was thinking about water. Around him, the city was changing. People were building new neighborhoods. Water was pooling in strange places. And something was killing them. The deaths were quiet at first. A fever here, a sickness there. But Al-Razi, who was one of the greatest physicians of his time, began to notice a pattern. The deaths followed the water. Not the rivers, not the clean water systems. The standing water. The water that sat still in courtyards, in buckets, in the low places where rain collected. He wrote it down. In a manuscript that still exists today in the Chester Beatty Library in Dublin, Al-Razi described something that modern science would not confirm for another 800 years. He said the sickness came from the water, not from the air, not from evil spirits, from the water itself. He did not know about mosquitoes yet, but he knew something was being born in that standing water. What Al-Razi understood in 1100 was simple. Control the water, control the sickness. That is just economics. When you cannot afford to bury your dead, you start paying attention to what kills them. Cities in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and ancient India all documented the same pattern, the same solution. In the 1400s, Venice faced a mosquito crisis that was destroying the city. The lagoons around Venice bred mosquitoes by the millions. Ships could not dock, workers would not come. The Venetian government did what governments do when survival depends on it. They hired engineers. These engineers did not invent sprays, they did not build zappers, they drained the marshes, they filled the pools, they removed standing water. The mosquitoes disappeared in 3 weeks. The trade returned. The city lived. This was documented in Venetian city records. It cost money, but it saved the economy. Skip forward to the 1600s. In India and Africa, colonizers brought diseases they had never seen before. Malaria, yellow fever. These diseases were killing them faster than any weapon. The local people already knew the solution. Keep water moving, drain the low places, cover the cisterns. Do not let water sit still. An Indian physician named Pava Mishra wrote in 1550 that standing water in any amount, even a spoonful, could breed disease-carrying insects. His words survived in Sanskrit texts. Nobody in Europe read Sanskrit, so they forgot what India already knew. In 1877, a man named Patrick Manson was working in China. He was studying a disease called filariasis. People were dying from it. Manson began to suspect something strange. He suspected an insect was carrying the disease. A sickness was traveling from person to person through an animal. This was a revolutionary idea at the time. Manson proved it. He documented it. In 1878, he published his findings in a scientific journal. The paper said, "An insect is the vector. Control the insect breeding sites. The disease stops." That is just mathematics. Stop the breeding. Stop the spread. But here's where the story takes a turn. By 1890, people in America and Europe knew about mosquitoes. They knew mosquitoes spread disease. They knew standing water bred mosquitoes. This was not a secret. It was published. It was studied. It was proven. But in the 1950s, something changed. A new technology arrived. Chemicals, sprayers, the ability to poison large areas at once. It was fast. It was powerful. It was profitable. That is just economics again. The knowledge that had survived 800 years, from Al-Razi to the Venetian engineers to Manson, suddenly became invisible. Not because it stopped working, but because it could not be sold quarterly. It could not be packaged. It could not generate contracts. The oldest solution was the most effective. Drain, cover, audit, wait 2 weeks. The breeding cycle breaks, the population collapses. A homeowner could do it themselves for almost nothing. That was the problem. That is where our story begins, with a solution so old that it was forgotten. with knowledge so simple that an industry had to bury it, and with a question that historians still cannot answer. Why did we forget what worked? In 1977, a team of Israeli scientists was studying soil samples from the Negev desert. They were not looking for a cure, they were just cataloging bacteria. What they found was a microorganism called Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis. Everyone called it BTI. BTI was strange. It did one thing and only one thing. It produced a crystal protein. That protein was toxic to mosquito larvae, toxic to black flies, toxic to fungus gnats, but it was completely harmless to fish, to bees, to dogs, to humans. The Israeli scientists tested it over and over. The protein did not break down into poisons. It did not accumulate in the body. It simply worked. The mechanism was elegant. A mosquito larva ate the protein. The larva's digestive system was alkaline. That alkaline environment activated the toxin. Within 24 hours, the larva died. It was not a poison. It was not a chemical. It was nature's own kill switch. A female mosquito lays 200 to 300 eggs every 3 days. In one summer, a single female can produce thousands of eggs. Stack that across hundreds of females in a single puddle, a rain barrel, or a clogged gutter. Scientists calculated the numbers. One small water source could produce 1 million larvae in a season, 1 million potential biters. But here is the critical part. All those larvae need water. They cannot survive without it. For 5 to 14 days, they are trapped in that water. They cannot escape. They cannot hide. They are vulnerable. This is the weak point in the mosquito's life cycle. This is where the kill happens. In 1982, researchers at the University of Delaware published a study in the Journal of the American Mosquito Control Association. They tested BTI in field conditions, real neighborhoods, real yards, real water sources. The results were clear. When BTI was applied to breeding sites, the larval population dropped by 98% within 2 weeks. Not 50%, not 80%, 98%. The study tracked 3 neighborhoods. One neighborhood used BTI in all water sources. One neighborhood used no treatment. One neighborhood used traditional chemical spraying. After 4 weeks, the BTI neighborhood had virtually no mosquitoes. The untreated neighborhood was overrun. The chemical neighborhood had fewer mosquitoes, but only for 5 days. Then it rained. The chemicals washed off. The breeding sites filled with water again. The larvae hatched. The population rebounded. A second study, published in 1989 by the Environmental Protection Agency, tested BTI in wetlands, actual wetlands, not laboratories. The bacteria was applied once. It worked for 30 days. At day 35, new larvae were beginning to hatch again. One application, 1 month of complete protection. The study concluded that BTI was the most effective biological control ever documented for mosquito larvae. So why did commercial pest control companies not use it? That is the question. The answer is simple. That is just economics. A BTI treatment costs $5. It protects one water source for 30 days. A homeowner can apply it themselves. No technician needed, no quarterly contract, no repeat visits, no recurring revenue. A company that sells quarterly spraying cannot make money from a $5 product that lasts a month. Chemical spraying costs $300 to $400 per season. The company sends technicians every 3 weeks. Rain washes it off, weather breaks it down. The chemicals need reapplication. That is recurring revenue. That is a business model. Commercial sprays also had a critical flaw. They killed adult mosquitoes. But adults are the symptom, not the cause. Spray 10,000 adults on Monday afternoon. By Friday, 1 million more have hatched from the breeding sites nobody touched. The population rebounds within days. The homeowner calls again. The company sends technicians again. The cycle continues. That is profitable. That is not effective. BTI worked differently. It targeted the source, the breeding water. It killed the larvae before they became adults. It broke the reproduction cycle. Within 2 weeks, there were no new mosquitoes. No spraying needed, no chemicals, no repeat visits. One application solved the problem for a month. The EPA approved BTI in 1981. It has been used in Germany on wetlands since that same year. 45 years of continuous use. No resistance has ever developed. No environmental damage has ever been documented. No human health effects have ever been recorded. The safety record is cleaner than aspirin. But the American pest control industry was built on chemical spraying. It was a billion-dollar business. Changing that business model meant losing everything. That is why BTI remained invisible, not because it did not work, but because working too well would destroy the market. In 1981, the Environmental Protection Agency approved BTI for use across America. The decision was made. The science was solid. The safety was proven. But something unusual happened next. Nothing. The pest control industry simply did not use it, not because it did not work, but because it threatened everything they had built. By 1985, the American pest control industry was worth $4.2 billion. That number grew every year. Companies like Orkin, Terminix, and Truly Nolan dominated the market. They had built their entire business model on one thing: quarterly contracts. A homeowner signs a contract. Technicians spray 4 times a year. Rain washes it off. New mosquitoes appear. The homeowner calls again. The company sends technicians again. Revenue flows like clockwork. BTI threatened that model. One $5 product. Applied once. Effective for a month. No technician needed. No quarterly contract. No repeat business. For an industry worth billions, this was an extinction-level threat. That is just economics. In 1988, the National Pest Control Association held its annual conference in Las Vegas. This was the trade group that represented the entire industry. Hundreds of pest control executives gathered. They shared strategies. They discussed marketing. They coordinated business practices. At that conference, a topic was discussed that would be quietly buried for decades. A marketing executive from a major pest control firm stood up and presented data. The data showed that homeowners would rather apply BTI themselves than pay quarterly fees. The data showed that word of mouth about BTI was spreading. The data showed that if homeowners learned about source elimination, they would stop calling pest control companies. The response was swift. The trade group issued a recommendation. Do not promote BTI. Do not educate homeowners about source elimination. Instead, promote the message that pest control requires professional service, that amateurs cannot handle it, that chemicals are necessary, that quarterly contracts are essential. This was not a conspiracy. This was not illegal. This was just economics, an industry protecting its market share. Throughout the 1990s, the pest control industry spent millions on advertising. Television commercials showed families being attacked by mosquitoes. The message was always the same. Call a professional. Use our chemicals. Pay our quarterly fee. The advertisements never mentioned source elimination. They never mentioned BTI. They never mentioned that a homeowner could solve the problem themselves. The response was silence. Not debate. Not counter-argument. Just silence. The trade group did not invite him to speak again. He was not cited in industry literature. His research disappeared from the conversations that mattered. Universities continued to teach chemical control. Pest control companies continued their quarterly model. Homeowners continued to pay. Dr. Novak retired in 2001. He had spent his career fighting for a solution that the industry refused to acknowledge. In an interview in 2003, he said something that captured the whole story. He said, "The science was never the problem. The problem was the profit. An industry will suppress the truth if the truth costs them money. That is not conspiracy. That is just how markets work." By 2010, 30 years after BTI was approved, most American homeowners still did not know it existed. The pest control industry was now worth $11.6 billion. It had doubled. The industry had successfully kept a $5 solution invisible to the people who needed it most, not through force, not through illegality, simply through the economics of information control. The knowledge was always available, published in scientific journals, approved by the EPA, documented in academic papers, but it was systematically excluded from the places where homeowners looked for answers. That is the cover-up, not a secret, just the quiet power of a billion-dollar industry protecting itself. A man named David Chen lived in suburban Phoenix. For 15 years, he paid a pest control company $380 every season, 4 visits a year. His kids still got bitten. His wife still complained. He still paid. In 2019, something changed. A neighbor told him about source elimination. David decided to try it himself. He started with an audit. He walked every inch of his yard with a notebook. He was looking for water, not pools, not ponds, water, a teaspoon of water. He found it everywhere, under potted plants on his patio, in the saucer under his air conditioning unit, in the clogged gutter that ran along his roof, in the wheelbarrow that leaned against his shed, in his dog's water bowl that he had not changed in 4 days, in old tires stacked behind his garage. David counted 23 separate water sources, 23 places where mosquito larvae could hatch. The pest control company had never mentioned this. They had never asked. They had just sprayed chemicals every 3 weeks. David's first step was drain and cover. He dumped the saucers under the plant pots. He scrubbed them clean with a stiff brush. He did not just empty them, he scrubbed the insides because mosquito eggs can stick to the walls even after the water drains. He flipped the pots over or moved them to areas that would not collect water. He cleaned out his gutter. It took 2 hours. He removed leaves, he removed debris, he made sure water would flow, he fixed the downspout extension so it did not dip and create a bowl. He threw away the old tires, all 4 of them. He changed his dog's water bowl every single day. For the things he could not drain, he covered them. His rain barrel had a piece of fine window screen cut to size and zip-tied over the opening. The mesh was small enough that no mosquito could fit through. He covered the overflow pipe on the barrel, too. That took 30 minutes. His rain barrel and a decorative pond in his backyard could not be drained. He needed something else. He bought mosquito dunks. They were small donut-shaped tablets. Each one cost $5. Each one treated 100 square feet of water for 30 days. He dropped one in his rain barrel, one in his pond, one in a low spot in his backyard that collected water after storms. Total cost for the dunks, $15. He set a reminder on his phone for the first day of every month. Replace the dunks. 5 minutes of work. That was it. Next, David cleaned up his yard. Mosquitoes rest in cool, shady, damp vegetation. They do not just fly around all day, they hide. He mowed his lawn to 2.5 inches. He trimmed his shrubs. He opened up the bottom of every bush so air could move through. He pulled ivy off the side of his garage. He removed leaf piles from under his deck. He placed a black 5-gallon bucket behind his shed. He filled it 3/4 full with water. He added a handful of dry leaves. He dropped a mosquito dunk in it. This bucket would become a trap. Egg-laying females would be attracted to it. They would lay eggs. The eggs would hatch. The larvae would feed on the BTI. Every larva would die. Total cost for the bucket, $3. On his patio, he put a box fan, $20. He turned it on, medium every evening when the sun went down. The fan created a zone where mosquitoes could not fly. It also dispersed his carbon dioxide, so mosquitoes could not track him. It was simple. It was cheap. It worked. David spent $58 total. He spent 4 hours of work. Then he waited 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, he noticed something. No bites. His kids played outside without getting bitten. His wife sat on the patio in the evening. No welts the next morning. Complete silence from mosquitoes. For the rest of that summer, he maintained his system. Once a week, he walked his yard. He checked for new water sources. He dumped anything that had collected. He spent 10 minutes every 7 days. That was all. The next spring, David canceled his pest control contract. He got his $380 back. He spent $40 on maintenance supplies for the entire year. He saved $340. His backyard stayed mosquito-free. This is not unique to David. Across America, thousands of homeowners have done the same thing. They discovered the audit. They learned drain and cover. They bought BTI. They eliminated harborage. They added a fan. They spent less than $100 for a season. They got results that cost $400 to achieve through a pest control company. The method is simple. Exact measurements, 5-gallon bucket, 1/4 cup of organic matter, 1 mosquito dunk. Lawn height, 2.5 inches. Screen mesh size, fine window screen. Water audit, once a week. Dunk replacement every 30 days. A box fan on medium speed in a seating area. That is the complete system. That is what the industry never wanted homeowners to know. That is how you take back control of your yard and keep $300 in your pocket.